Councilman Munger,
Present.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Present.
Supervisor Keating,
Present.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Present.
Councilwoman Martin,
Present.
Councilman Cardicchini, pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have two items this evening under preliminary matters. The first preliminary matter is a highway resolution. Recently, the Town of Boston Highway Department updated this particular resolution. Unfortunately, one of our pumps actually pumps sewage had gone bad. I will leave the details out, but it was an emergency situation. Resolution formally authorizes the repairs, the total repairs for that pump system, which was switches and pump and some other components, totaled $9,413. So I would like to make a motion to approve Town of Boston Resolution 2019-38, authorizing that emergency resolution, once again totaling $9,413.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Second item this evening under preliminary matters is to amend the Flag Day use of facility form. Councilman Munger.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This application for application for use of facility actually was already approved, but there is a amendment for the date requested from Saturday to Monday, so it's now 6/17/19 for the celebration of Flag Day by the Boy Scout Troop 491. I would like to make a motion to approve this application for use of facility with the amended date on it.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to item number 2 under regular business, we have the correction and adoption of the minutes for the May 15th, 2019 Town Board meeting. Councilwoman Lukacek.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I've reviewed the minutes and I request, I make a motion to accept the minutes from May 15th, 2019.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Abstain as I was absent.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item number 2 under regular business this evening, we have the the consideration of all fund bills. Councilwoman Martin.
Thank you, Supervisor. I had an opportunity to review the fund bills, and I make a motion to accept the total payables of $393,771.52.
I'll second that.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, item number 3 is correspondence. We have 2 letters of correspondence that came into the town. We have one from Maplewood Cemetery Association. This actually came in from Marianne Kruger, who's in our town. And I'll just read off this letter. It's a very nice letter to our highway superintendent and to the town. At the annual meeting of the Maplewood Cemetery Association, they wanted just to acknowledge and express their appreciation for helping the cemetery with plowing, picking up debris, and allowing the use of the community room for their meetings, removing a recent huge limb that was there and other services. This definitely helps the cemetery maintain its beautiful grounds. So some of you may have heard me talk about the New York State law that actually allows a municipality to assist cemeteries with particular maintenance and care and upkeep, because essentially if a public cemetery, for that matter, it cannot be a private cemetery, but a public cemetery goes essentially into arrears or needs other financial assistance by state law, actually a town is legally obligated to take that cemetery over. So that'd be something that the taxpayers would actually pay for. So anyway, that was a very kind letter. So that's the purpose for me reading that. Item number 2 under correspondence is a letter from FEMA regarding the highway department garage roof. Anybody that may have followed this, I also want to read this particular piece of correspondence off. For those of us that remember the 7-foot snowstorm, our highway roof was damaged, and FEMA came back and indicated that the FEMA payment was not properly paid out. The town had gone through over the past year. We've been going back and forth with FEMA on this. We've tried to appeal on this. We've lost the first round of appeal, and we're going to be making the determination whether or not we're going to file a second appeal. But essentially, the town would be potentially liable for paying back those funds that were paid out by FEMA. So I will provide further updates on that once that comes through. Moving on to item number 4, new business. We have, I'm going to pause for just one moment for a request from the floor. I had actually asked, I worked with Don Buckley from Boy Scout Troop 491. Anybody that was in the room tonight that had attended the Dollar General store public meeting was probably just about as amazed as I was, as probably anybody else in our community. We have a young gentleman in our room tonight that came up to the microphone, and as a parent, I'll take away my title as supervisor, as a citizen of our community, I was very impressed about how you conducted yourself, how you spoke, and I truly will just use the Dollar General's representative's words that she could only hope that her children grow up and speak as intellectually and as well as you did to that topic. So I actually drafted up a letter. Like I said, I've spoken to other members of the Scout Troop, but all the board members, we had talked about this, and we certainly want to recognize that. Those are certainly leadership traits. They're certainly great citizen traits for our community. So I drafted up a letter, and it reads, Aiden Jablonski, I, along with councilman members Zach Munger, Mike Hardikini, Kelly Martin, Jennifer Lukacek, wanted to take a moment and recognize your feedback to the Dollar General public meeting on May 14th, 2019. This town board believes that every member of our community has the right to be heard and their opinions considered. We were impressed how particularly you voiced your thoughts about why there should not be a Dollar General store in the town of Boston. The town of Boston is a proud community with a heritage of farming and plenty of green space, and we'd like to maintain those attributes for our future. We need to hear from the people of our community, people like you, and how to best do that. Please continue to speak up, volunteer, and stay involved to make our town and other towns great places to live. I am confident you will continue to demonstrate your leadership traits while in your Scout Troop 491. And sincerely, Jason Keaton. So, Aiden, I'd like you to come up. I'd like to shake your hand and present you with this letter. I will add that it also meant a lot at the Memorial Day ceremony. Other members of our community that I spoke to, they truly were so touched by your words and how you spoke. Many of them truly had actually tears in their eyes. So, again, great job. All right, moving on to item number 1 under new business. We have requests from the floor. It's a 3-minute timeline per person, so I will open up the floor. Please come to the microphone, state your name and your address. Kathy's got it.
Oh, she's a leader, right? Kathy Perjaclo, President of the Boston Historical Society. Effective Sunday, we will now be open the second and fourth Sundays of every month from 2 to 4 through October. And also knit at the museum nights on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month from 6:30 to 8:30. So everyone's welcome. Please pass the word and enjoy.
Kathy, would you be able to, either you get in touch base with me or call me if you want to work together with my office. We can put something out on the town Facebook page for that.
Okay, great.
Happy to help you with that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Jay Jackson, 7964 Back Creek Road. I am pleased to see Legislator Mills amongst us this evening. On one hand, he is sponsoring the library's fundraiser. Again, hot dog fundraiser again this year, helping to organize that. And also, I look forward to word as a Back Creek Road resident. Any updates on county road maintenance? Thank you.
Anyone else? further comment, I will close the floor. Moving on to item number 2 under new business, we have our Erie County Legislator, Don Mills.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good evening, town board residents. I wonder if I could take this out so I can just kind of
Sure,
look at everything.
absolutely.
Like Tiffany back too. Okay, well, good evening, and you know, this Boy Scout here, what troop are you from now? I've got to tell you a real quick story before I get into my program. I have issued proclamations to, it's now 87 Eagle Scouts in my district. Are you working in an Eagle Scout badge? Okay. This Saturday in Orchard Park, I'm awarding proclamations, and I'm going to believe this, to 8 Scouts as Eagles in the town of Orchard Park. That puts them at 51 Eagles since I've been in the legislature for 14 years. It's incredible. But these young men, including you in the audience here, really help to make us all feel good about being Americans and living in this country, because Scouting has produced presidents, military leaders, and great, I use politicians, but leaders in government. So what you did here was outstanding. It takes a lot to stand up in front of an audience and talk about things like that. So I hope maybe that you could accelerate the ego approach for me so I can get you a proclamation too before I leave office. So thank you again. Well, I have to introduce the gal who knows where all the bones are in the closet, so to speak, in county government, Nancy Heath. Nancy, can you stand up and just, Nancy has got it down pat now. It's taken her 4 years because government is much different than the private sector, but Nancy's done a great job for me. She's the gal you would talk to when you call my office. And when we have issues, whether it be social services or roads, bridges, whatever, Nancy sets up a file on those things and she goes to work immediately to try and make sure we can resolve your issues. I come from the private sector. I'm a food distributor as my real job, and government has been kind of a hobby for me. So Nancy can tell you that I'm very enthusiastic and I believe in deadlines. I still have 1 foot in the 20th century, so I believe in deadlines and getting things done very quickly. So Nancy's a great addition, so thank you for coming out and let me introduce you this evening. So anyway, I brought up a bunch of little giveaways that you as the taxpayers have paid for. One is the fishing guide. Worked on this for 10 years. This tells you where the fish are in Erie County. And actually a little bit in Chautauqua, Niagara County also, and Cattaraugus. What people don't understand, and I preach it all the time, we have one of the finest freshwater fishing areas in the world. Not just this country, but in the world. I've been out on bass tournaments, and I sit on the Fishery Advisory Committee for Erie County, and these guys and gals are really enthusiastic about what we do. Last year when they had the bass tournament here, I went to ECC South, and just picture this, 312 bass boats on trailers. I thought it was a NASCAR race because it's all, they got all the emblems and sponsorships, and let me tell you, the crowd is about 380 people, and they're serious people. They don't smile an awful lot unless they catch a fish. So they're from all over the world, not just the United States. So those are, we brought those along, they're on the table out there. Please take them home and use them. And I've got the yellow dot, which is sponsored by the New York State Sheriff's Association. In this document, this little dot peels off. You put it on your back windshield of your automobile. You fill out your information, your personal information in this card. You put it in the glove compartment. So if a police officer or EMS person has to address an issue, you're in an automobile accident, they know where to go for this. And you can also use it in your home. with the yellow dot on the entrance, main entrance to your home, and stick this document in the freezer of your refrigerator. That's where they'll go to get this. And then run along the scenic byway, which comes through the town of Boston. I brought some of those with me that become very popular. With the interpretive signs we have all up and down the byway. It starts in Orchard Park and goes all the way now to Ellicottville through Cattaraugus County. So that's a great piece of literature for you. Now to the real, one more thing before I go. Household Hazardous Waste for 2019 collection event, and there'll be one in SUNY ECC on June 15th and on September 14th in town of Concord. Now you got to pre-register for this, and they left a bunch of those on the table too. Okay, so it's first come first served. We got to pre-register for this, but there's 2 of them available in the South Town. So I've got these on the table outside. All right, now to the road report. Let's since we had a Bat Creek request. I don't know if you know a guy named Jim Schmidt. Okay, well he lives on Bat Creek, and he has a scenario where the creek comes down and it doesn't make the right turn the way it should, and it winds up in his backyard, about 3 feet of it, of water, on a bad storm. We're working on it with Soil Water Conservation District, which is Erie County, USDA, to try and get some of that information out to these places where we can get funds, federal and state funds, mostly federal funds, to do some of the work. And the supervisor and I were out to talk to Jim Schmidt, and it gets us high in his backyard, and he's about 200 feet from the creek. So, but as far as paving, we're going to do more paving on those roads, especially Bat Creek. I have a different take on infrastructure, okay, because I sit on the sewer treatment agency. I'm the chairman there, and I'm chairman on the Soil Water Conservation District. So I'm with the fresh water and the sewage part of the water. You know, the pipes are in the ground, so no one sees the pipes in the ground until you can't flush your toilet, or you got problems with drainage, okay, or your pipes break for your water lines. So, you know, when they say, well, we got to fix the infrastructure, so those people down in Washington D.C. say, well, let's get $1 trillion, $2, $3, $4 trillion, and let's tax your gasoline to pay for it. But now they can't even get to an agreement about spending or getting the $3 trillion. And what people don't understand, the fact of the matter is, 83% of the infrastructure I'm talking about, roads, bridges, and the pipes in the ground, need to be replaced in this country. 83%. That is a realistic number. So shame on us as elected officials not to go after this big time. Get the funding. Don't raise my gas tax or my diesel fuel or anybody else's gas tax or gasoline or diesel fuel. Let's find a way to cut corners and spend the money right instead of wasting it on other issues in the federal government. Then we roll down the state government, and it gets really exciting there. I'm going to introduce a resolution that is going to be sent to the state, the governor in particular, outlawing forever putting windmills in Lake Erie. That's raised its ugly head again. The people in the town of Evans are just losing sleep over this. So I'm going to introduce that resolution, and we're going to take it right to Corps of Engineers. We're going to take it to the whatever federal government we got to take it to get this thing stopped, this nonsense of putting people in Evans and the people in Erie County, Cattaraugus County, Chautauqua County. Nightmares about having windmills upsetting the fishery that we have, which I just explained was a great fishery, birds and leaking oil into the lake. I mean, we just, if you all remember, maybe 30 years ago when Lake Erie was pronounced a dead lake, and over the years its sedimentation is solidified. Now we have a reasonably good fishery and a good lake in most cases. So I'm going to introduce that resolution. There's a whole bunch of things going on, and you just got to keep your eye on what's going on, even at the federal and state level, because some of these people up there, they just don't get it, what we're trying to. And let me just tell you something. These board members up here, this is where government works the best, right here at the local level, because you can all come up here, have a seat, and tell these people what you want them to do, because what politicians forget, and I preach this all the time, is the boss are all of you. We just work for you. So let's listen to what you have to say, and that's what this board does. They do it in all the towns and villages. I represent 15 towns and villages, and that's what people like about local government. If we could do that with the state and feds, great, but they don't allow us to go down to Albany and speak. They don't allow us to go to Washington and speak, so get off my soapbox and get on the roads now. Chester Ridge Road, FedEx Roads, recently had cross culvert work done. This is from our engineer, district engineer, Joe Donlin. Zimmerman Road from Sherrill to Frederick, prep work to continue repaving, expected late July or August. Now, I see Mr. Telak's not here this evening, so I was going to ask him if he can confirm some of these things. But Bat Creek, we'll see most of the hot patch work happening now and over the next couple of weeks, so that's what's going to happen in Bat Creek. Hillcroft, this is a real good one here. Hillcroft Road Bridges, you all know what that is, right? And that's about, I inspected that, now that was 5 years ago with the county engineer, and it's been 5 years. So Mark Poloncarz did a press release in March of this year, and he said it's scheduled to be replaced in 2019. And Disney World is coming to Boston. Joe Donlin, on April 4th, we are concentrating, Joe's the district guy, we will be concentrating on preparing the oil and chip projects with patching, culvert work, shoulder work, trees through the end of June. In mid-July, we will likely do oil and chipping and start the bulk of patchwork. Now, this sounds great. The budget was out at 41 million. Last year, the budget was 31 million. And guess what? Come November of 2018, I asked a question of the DPW commissioner. I said, how much money do we not spend on the roads? Well, you know, winter came too early this year. It always comes too early. $6 million of your money was not spent on roads, bridges, and culverts. Shame on the administration. So, when I worked to get the old 219 Boston Springville Road done, that took 10 years. This is going to take a lot less because I'm going to aggressively go after the administration every time they promise something. Now, Nancy, could you please unveil the sign? I got this in North Calland. I got it in Concord. So it says, Poloncarz fix this road now. So I started putting off.
Clarence.
Pardon me?
I saw those in Clarence.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah, I volunteered my signs to the legislator out there. Now, I don't like to do things like this, but this is not political. This is holding the administration feet to the fire. Get it done. You get the money, spend the money, get it done. Contract it out, but get the job done. Because when you don't do it right, you pay for it later. So we're spending millions of dollars patching roads that should be redone. Okay, so we're going to put those signs up. You'll see them in Boston. You know, I'm going to go to the residents and ask them to put them up on the roads that need to be fixed. And it has to go on residents' property because if you put it on the right of way, they take them down. They took 20 signs down in Clarence, on the legislature. So I think Mr. Poloncarz will get the message, and we're going to get more road work done. I don't like to do things like that, but you know, I come from the private sector and I spent 22 years in town board in Orchard Park. And I'm not going to put up with this. I want you to understand, I'm not going to put up with it. We're going to work with local officials and we're going to have press events. We're going to get the roads done, drainage done, and just try to make this county a lot better than what it is today. So, having said all that, I appreciate your patience with me. I do. Personally, when I tell you things, it comes from the heart. It's not political. I don't think it is. I think it's just telling people what we should be doing as elected officials, getting the job done for you. So thanks again for having me. Do you have any questions, Supervisor, or anyone?
Do I have the sign? Put it on my.
Nancy? We've got a sign person here.
I have a question.
Sure.
On the road projects that were approved for 2019, I don't have any good feeling at all that those are going to be completed in 2019. And we're going to hold the administration accountable. I mean, it seems like the county keeps kicking it down the road, and anybody that lives or drives on Back Creek Road, it's really a disaster. And at one point, the road is actually falling into the creek. It's down to a lane. I mean, at what point does the town of Boston, get an audience with the county to move forward with these projects?
Before the snowplow falls into the creek.
No, I agree with you 200%. No question. We have to keep their feet to the fire. Now our commissioner, Bill Gary, just appointed commissioner a couple of years ago. Bill's a bright young guy. And he serves in the Air Force Reserves. He had to go on reserve training for 4 months. Now the deputy commissioner was Charlie Sickler, who's our head county engineer. He retired in January. So what's wrong with that picture? He retires. The guy behind him just retired. No succession planning. We got a bunch of engineers up there trying to run the DPW while the guy in charge is off on 4 months of retraining with the Air Force. Now he's back, and hopefully we're going to move ahead very rapidly. We've got the people in place. We've added 27 employees to DPW over the last 5 years. 27 employees and maybe a dozen part-timers. So we got the personnel. We just have to have an administration that can appoint people who can administer what has to be done. Engineers in our DPW, I mean, they can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I hate to say it, but they can't. I mean, in the private sector, you get these things done. In the town of Boston, you get these things done right away. So you got to change the culture, and that's why I'm running again for another 2-year term. I want to help continue to change the culture of county government so it's more efficient and more dedicated to the taxpayers of Erie County. And the better Erie County looks, the more jobs we're going to have here, and the more, the quality of life is going to get better here. So, hope that answers your question.
John, the Hillcroft Bridge, which you brought up and quickly went over the top of, that bridge has been asked to be replaced since I was a supervisor in 2008 and 9. I stood on that bridge and watched trees hit that bridge, water come over top of that bridge, and the only thing that they've done to it is resurface it so that the school buses don't fall through when they go over the bridge and stuff. That's needed to be replaced. It was supposed to be replaced in 2012. Then it was replaced, promised it was going to be replaced again. And now we're hearing it's going to be replaced again. But, I mean, how many times do we hear it's going to be replaced, and when is it finally going to be replaced?
Unfortunately, I don't run DPW, but maybe Lynn Dixon gets elected county executive, maybe they'll appoint me to DPW. But it's going to be done this year. We're going to have signs all over that bridge. It's going to get done. So we're going to work real hard at that.
Thanks, Jim.
That's what it takes. It's unfortunate. This should be real smooth. When I was a kid growing up, DPW had plenty of help and things got done. But boy, I'll tell you, since the red-green budget back in 2004 and 5, it's been a disaster in our parks. So things are getting better, but they're not getting better as quickly as I'd like to see it. Anyone else? Well, thanks again for having me.
Yes, thank you. I'll just add in regard to the Hillcroft Bridge, actually, Legislator Mills, I'm not sure if you had this, but I received an email, let's see here, dated April 16th, questioning the status of the Hillcroft Bridge. Actually, our fire departments had reached out to me for some of their planning, and so I, of course, had reached out to Joe Donnell, but as of April 16th, to your exact point of things taking time, at that stage, they had just completed the soil borings on site for that project. So to the legislator's point, this is something that our community has been well aware of, that we've tried to push the try to move these chains forward, but at the end of the day, again, an email dated April 16th of this year, they were just completing the soil borings. And they're going to continue through the design this year, and they're hoping this year, if not a 2020, possible award for the project. So and I'm not going to get off my soapbox, we have to continue with the meeting, but I'll just say that anybody that watched the last year, I reached out to the media, I worked with Legislator Mills and others at the county level. We targeted the county executive last year to hold him accountable. I mean, I was on WBEN stating, the county executive stated that he put more money into the road maintenance budget than any other previous administration. And my counter response was the fact that he doesn't spend all that money. So again, proof in the pudding, we had money carrying over into last year. That doesn't just affect the town of Boston. I said this last year, and I'll say it again until I'm wrong, or something changes. The fact remains that money's not being spent. That's your tax dollars. That's surplus that sits in that county budget. That affects the town of Boston. It affects the town of Colden. You name it, it affects Erie County. So, I certainly applaud and I appreciate all the help the Legislator Mills and some of the other people that I've worked with, have done on to try to get our infrastructure fixed, because it's the sad true reality is our infrastructure on many different facets of it are in desperate need of repair and are going to take millions of dollars to fix and replace. And who pays for that? We all do. So anyway, moving on to the rest of the board meeting for tonight. Item number 3 under new business, resolution 2019-32, which is amending the budget to properly account for a donation received. Councilwoman Martin.
Thank you, Supervisor. The town of Boston received unanticipated revenue in the form of a donation from Certified Pest Solutions for $100 for the Conservation Advisory Council's fishing derby. We needed to amend the budget. The town budget was amended to increase appropriations by $100 and increase revenues by $100. I make a motion to accept this amendment to the budget.
Second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Karakini.
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item number 4 is resolution 2019-33, which is amending the budget to properly account for a justice court grant that was received. Courtroom seating that we are all currently sitting in, our court offices and myself, we worked to secure the justice grant, totaling an amount of $14,189 for the purchase of new courtroom seating. And there were funds that were not included amount that were originally budgeted for in the fiscal year. So once again, this is a budget amendment. So these funds were deposited into revenue account under general government grants, and then whereas the town had paid for the expenditure relating to the new courtroom seating out of the justice equipment. Once again, the total amount of this resolution is $14,189. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2019-33.
I will second, since it was my resolution.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Karakini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I had it down as Mike's too.
Sorry about that, guys. Easy item. Item number 5 under new business, we have resolution 2019-34, which is adopting a credit card policy. Councilwoman Lukacek.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Resolution number 2019